When a woman hurts you, the natural reaction is to seek answers, demand an explanation, or express your emotions in an attempt to make her understand how deeply she affected you. However, doing so only gives her control over your emotions. She expects a reaction from you, whether it's anger, sadness, or frustration, because that reaction validates her importance in your life. But what happens when you don't give her that reaction? What happens when, instead of chasing answers or letting her see your pain, you go completely silent? That's when the confusion begins. Silence is one of the most powerful responses a man can give when he has been hurt. It's not about being passive or avoiding confrontation. It's about maintaining control. When you remove your attention, your presence, and your emotional energy from a woman who hurt you, you disrupt the dynamic. She was expecting you to reach out, to ask why, to show that you are still emotionally invested. Instead, your silence forces her to sit with her own decisions. She starts to wonder why you aren't reacting the way she thought you would. Did you not care as much as she assumed? Are you stronger than she gave you credit for? Is she the one who miscalculated? The beauty of silence is that it forces reflection. When you disappear from a woman's life after she has hurt you, she is left alone with her own thoughts. She no longer has the satisfaction of seeing your pain or knowing that she still holds emotional power over you. If she had expected you to be heartbroken and desperate, your silence will be unsettling. If she thought she could manipulate your emotions and keep you in a cycle of chasing her, your silence breaks that cycle. It forces her to confront the reality of what life is like without you in it. This is especially true if she took you for granted. Many times women hurt men because they believe those men will always be there. They assume that no matter how they behave, you will continue to chase, to care, and to fight for them. But when you remove yourself completely, without anger, without pleading, without seeking closure, you shatter that assumption. She realizes that maybe she misjudged you. Maybe she overestimated her hold on you. Maybe, just maybe, she lost something valuable. And the confusion doesn't stop there. A woman's mind naturally works in patterns. She expects things to follow a certain order based on past experiences. If every other man she hurt reacted with emotional outbursts, begging, or trying to prove their worth, then she expects you to do the same. But when you break that pattern, when you refuse to engage in the emotional tug-of-war, she doesn't know how to process it. The human brain craves closure, and when she doesn't get that closure from you, her mind keeps going back to the situation, trying to figure out what went wrong. She may even start questioning her own actions, wondering if she was the one who made a mistake. What makes silence even more powerful is that it isn't just about disappearing. It's about maintaining an unbothered energy. If you go silent but your social media is filled with sadness, heartbreak quotes, or indirect messages about being hurt, then she still knows she has an effect on you. True silence is when you detach emotionally, when you move forward without looking back, when you show the world and yourself that you are not defined by someone else's actions. This doesn't mean you're pretending not to care. It means you are prioritizing yourself over unnecessary emotional turmoil. It means you are choosing peace over drama. And the moment she senses that you have truly detached, the confusion turns into curiosity. Women are naturally drawn to what they can't fully understand or predict. When you go silent and genuinely focus on yourself, you become a mystery. And mystery is attractive. She starts to wonder what you're doing, who you're with, if you've already moved on. She might even start checking your social media, asking mutual friends about you, or finding small ways to insert herself back into your life. And that's where the power shifts. Instead of you chasing her, she is now the one thinking about you. Instead of you seeking answers, she is now the one searching for clarity. But the real power of silence isn't just in confusing her, it's in freeing yourself. When you stop engaging with someone who hurt you, you give yourself the opportunity to heal without unnecessary setbacks. You don't waste energy trying to change someone's mind or prove your worth. Instead, you redirect that energy into becoming a better, stronger version of yourself. And by the time she finally realizes what she lost, you will have already moved forward. At the end of the day, silence is more than just a strategy. It's a statement that says, I respect myself enough not to entertain situations that bring me pain. A statement that proves your worth is not tied to someone else's validation. And when a woman realizes that she can no longer control your emotions, She is left with the one thing she never expected: regret. When a woman hurts you, the most natural response is often to react emotionally. You might feel the urge to explain yourself, to ask her why she did what she did, or to prove your worth to her. This reaction comes from a place of pain and confusion because you want to understand her motives, and more importantly, you want to remind her of your value. But here's where most men make a crucial mistake. They give her exactly what she expects. She expects you to be upset. She expects you to react. She expects you to chase, to plead, or to show her that she still has an impact on you. And by doing so, you give her all the power. The real way to turn the situation around and shift the power dynamic is to become unpredictable. The moment you start doing things she doesn't expect, you disrupt the pattern she thought she could control. A woman expects a man who is hurt to act in specific ways. Maybe he starts texting her more. Maybe he becomes distant but visibly upset. Or maybe he tries to make her jealous. But what if, instead of doing any of that, you do something entirely different? What if you act in a way that makes her question everything she thought she knew about you? That's when confusion sets in, and that's when she starts re-evaluating the situation. Imagine this. She expected you to be heartbroken, but instead, you seem genuinely unbothered. She thought you would reach out, but instead you disappear. She assumed you would act out of pain, but instead you elevate yourself, focusing on your goals, your fitness, your ambitions. The moment she sees that her actions didn't break you but instead fueled you, she begins to rethink her choices. Why? Because people don't expect strength in moments of pain. They expect weakness. They expect vulnerability. But when you show resilience, when you act like someone who has options, when you move forward without looking back, she has no choice but to question herself. This is where the power of shifting your energy comes into play. Instead of wasting your time trying to figure out why she did what she did, focus on becoming a version of yourself that she never expected. Upgrade your life in every way possible, physically, mentally, financially, and emotionally. When she looks at you again, she shouldn't see the same person she hurt. She should see a man who has evolved beyond her reach. And that's when the regret starts creeping in. Women don't regret hurting men who remain stuck in the same place, who continue to dwell in the pain. But they do regret losing men who rise above the pain and come out stronger, because deep down, people are wired to want what they can't have. And when she sees that she no longer has easy access to you, when she realizes that you are no longer emotionally available to her, she will begin to question her decisions. This doesn't mean you are playing games. It's not about pretending to move on just to get a reaction from her. It's about truly moving on, truly focusing on your own self-growth. When you do this from a genuine place, you don't even have to try to confuse her. The more you detach, the more she notices. The more you elevate yourself, the more she watches. And eventually, the very person who once hurt you will start feeling the loss. And here's something important to understand. Women are emotional creatures. They might make impulsive decisions, thinking they can always go back and fix things later. But when they see that the door has closed, when they see that the man they once had is no longer waiting, they start to feel the weight of their choices. The moment you become unpredictable, the moment you break the pattern, you create doubt in her mind. And doubt leads to curiosity. Curiosity leads to reflection. And reflection leads to regret. But the goal is not to make her regret. The goal is for you to reclaim your own power, to break free from the emotional grip she had over you. And when you do that, you'll realize that the best response to being hurt is not anger, not revenge, not seeking closure. It's complete and total elevation. And by the time she realizes what she lost, you'll be too far ahead for it to even matter. When a woman hurts you, the natural reaction is often to confront, to demand answers, or to show her how much she affected you. But the most powerful thing you can do is remain a mystery. When someone expects a certain response and they don't get it, it forces them to think, to wonder, and eventually to question their own actions. This is the exact effect you create when you choose to walk away in silence rather than reacting emotionally. Silence is powerful because it leaves space for the mind to wander. When you don't respond to the pain she caused, when you don't explain yourself, don't argue, don't try to justify your feelings, you create a void, and nature hates a void. Void. The moment she realizes that she doesn't have access to your emotions, that she can't predict your next move, she starts thinking about you even more. This is not manipulation. It's human psychology. People are wired to want what they don't fully understand. And when you stop explaining yourself, stop making it easy for her to read you, you suddenly become more intriguing. Think about it. When you text her back instantly, when you respond to her every move, when you always make yourself available, she has nothing to wonder about. She knows exactly where she stands with you, and that gives her control. But the moment you stop being predictable, the moment you stop reacting, she loses that control. And that's when the power shifts. She starts checking her phone, wondering why you haven't reached out. She starts replaying past conversations, questioning if she made the right choice. She starts to miss the validation she once got from you. And here's the thing. This isn't about playing games. It's not about ignoring her just to make her chase you. It's about truly detaching and focusing on yourself. When you reach a point where you no longer feel the need to prove anything to her, when you genuinely prioritize your own growth and happiness over seeking her approval, that's when she begins to feel your absence the most. Because it's not just your presence that people feel, it's also your absence. And when your absence is powerful enough, it speaks louder than any words ever could. A woman expects you to react when she hurts you. She expects you to seek closure, to ask her why, to try and work things out. But when you refuse to give her that, when you choose silence instead, she is forced to deal with the weight of her own actions. She has to sit with the consequences of what she did. She has to process her own emotions without you being there to make it easier for her. And the longer you stay silent, the more she starts to feel it. At first, she might act like she doesn't care. She might pretend that she's fine, that she's moving on, that your silence doesn't affect her. But as time goes on, the reality starts to set in. She starts to realize that she lost access to you, to your energy, to the way you made her feel. She starts to wonder if she made the right choice. And the more she wonders, the more she starts to miss you. Silence also forces a woman to reflect. When a man reacts emotionally, it gives her an excuse to justify her actions. She can say, see, this is why I left. He's too emotional, too needy, too reactive. But when you remain silent, when you simply remove yourself without explanation, she doesn't have that excuse. Instead, she is left with nothing but her own thoughts, and in those moments of reflection, she starts to see things differently. She starts to remember the good moments, the way you made her feel, the things she once took for granted. And by the time she realizes all of this, you've already moved on. That's the real power of silence. It's not about making her chase you. It's about making sure that you're not waiting around for someone who didn't see your value in the first place. Because the truth is, if she truly cared, if she truly valued you, she wouldn't have hurt you to begin with. And if she only realizes your worth after you've walked away, then she was never meant for you in the first place. It's easy to believe that showing kindness, explaining your emotions, or proving your worth will make a woman see what she lost. But in reality, the most powerful thing you can do is focus on yourself and level up. When a woman hurts you, the most unexpected response is not anger, not sadness, not pleading. It's self-improvement. It's becoming a version of yourself that she never expected you to become. And when you do this, you confuse her in a way that words never could. People expect certain reactions. If she left you, she expects you to chase. If she disrespected you, she expects you to be hurt. If she played games, she expects you to react. But when you don't give her any of that, when instead you turn inward, focus on your purpose, improve yourself, and elevate your life, she's left in a state of shock. She starts to wonder why you aren't reacting the way she assumed you would. And that uncertainty, that confusion, begins to shift the power dynamic in your favor. Imagine this. She moves on, thinking she has control, thinking you'll always be there in the background waiting for her. But instead of waiting, you disappear, not in a weak way, not in a bitter way, but in a way that speaks of undeniable growth. You start hitting the gym harder, focusing on your career, upgrading your mindset, and truly becoming a high-value man. And here's the key. When a woman sees a man improving without her, it makes her question everything. Because now, she's no longer the main character in your story. She's not the reason for your success. She's not the center of your world. And that reality stings. Women are naturally drawn to confidence, to men who are on a mission, to men who don't need validation from them to feel valuable. The moment she realizes that she was just a small chapter in your story rather than the entire book, she feels the weight of her decisions. She starts comparing you to the men around her, and suddenly she sees a difference. You're no longer the same guy she left behind. You're sharper, stronger, more focused, and less available. And that lack of availability, that's what confuses her the most. She might reach out subtly, sending a message just to see if you'll respond. She might start watching your stories, hoping for a glimpse of the old you. She might even test the waters with indirect comments or mutual friends. But here's where you maintain your power. You don't give her the reaction she's looking for. Because the truth is, your success is no longer about her. It's about you. It's about proving to yourself that you were always enough, that you never needed to beg for her attention, and that your value was never tied to her presence in your life. When you level up, when you become the best version of yourself, you don't just confuse her. You make her regret. You make her see that what she walked away from wasn't just a man, but a man who was always meant for greatness. And by the time she realizes this, you're already too far ahead, too focused, too evolved to ever look back. And that's when you truly win. It's in our nature to seek closure, to want explanations, to crave validation from the person who hurt. But the moment you release that need, you shift everything in your favor. The truth is, when a woman hurts you, the most powerful thing you can do is walk away with silent strength. No arguments, no desperate texts, no emotional outbursts, just complete detachment. And this confuses her more than anything else. People expect reactions. They expect confrontation. They expect you to explain yourself, to demand answers, to seek justice for how you were treated. But when you don't, when you simply disappear and focus on yourself, that's when you gain the upper hand. Because silence is louder than words. Indifference speaks volumes. And when she sees that she no longer has control over your emotions, she starts to question everything. At first, she might not notice. She might assume you're just giving her space, that you'll eventually come back like before. But as time passes and she sees you thriving, sees you glowing in your success, unbothered by her absence, that's when the confusion begins to sink in. She'll start wondering why you didn't react the way she expected. She'll question whether she ever had the effect on you that she thought she did. And that uncertainty, that's what keeps her up at night. Here's the irony. The more you chase, the more she runs. But the moment you stop running, the moment you turn your attention inward and stop seeking her approval, that's when she starts to feel the void. See, because deep down, people don't value what comes easily. They value what they have to work for. And when you remove yourself as an option, when you make it clear, through action, not words, that you are no longer interested in playing her games, she has no choice but to reevaluate everything. And this isn't about manipulation. It's not about playing mind games or trying to make her suffer. It's about recognizing your own worth and refusing to let someone else dictate your self-esteem. When you shift your focus from her to yourself, when you invest in your growth, your mindset, and your purpose, you become untouchable. You become a man who isn't controlled by emotions but driven by ambition. You see, a high-value man doesn't waste time dwelling on the past. He doesn't seek revenge or try to prove a point. He simply moves forward, and as he does, the people who underestimated him are left wondering what happened. They start to regret, to overthink, to wish they had made different choices. Because the moment they realize they no longer have access to you, they start to see your true value. So, if a woman has hurt you, don't seek closure. Don't try to change her mind. Don't waste energy proving your worth. Just detach, level up, and let your success be the only response she ever gets. Because the greatest revenge isn't anger. It's becoming everything they never thought you could be.